Hey love bugs, welcome back to another Tarot Lover Reviews. Today we are doing a requested review on the Mermaid Tarot, created by Lisa Robertson and illustrated by Julie Dillon. So if you have heard of this tarot deck or you did not know this tarot deck even existed, hopefully this review and the flip through that comes after helps you to decide on whether or not this tarot deck is right for you. Now, if you want to go straight to the flip through, take a look at my description. I break out all of the minor arcana, the major arcana into chapters to make it easier for you to start where you would like to start with the flip through. So prior to that, we are going to talk about the packaging for the Mermaid Tarot. We're going to talk about the guidebook, and we are going to talk about the cards. We're going to talk about the imagery on the cards, the card stock, the card size, and the backs of the cards. So if you're interested in all of that information, stick around. If not, feel free to head over to the flip through. But first things first, let's go ahead and jump right into the box. So this is what the box looks like. Now, this is a kit, okay? If you do not know what a kit is, you're about to find out. But kits are larger boxes, okay? Larger packaging, mainly because of the guidebook, which we will get into. And this particular deck was published by Llewellyn. And Llewellyn is known for doing tarot decks as kits. So a lot of the tarot decks that I have for Llewellyn are all kits. And yeah, I absolutely love them. So this is how all of their boxes open. Okay, and then you have a view of the interior. And then you have the string here that helps to take your cards out of the box. And as you could see, the box is thick, it's sturdy. You know that if your tarot cards are in the box, if it were to fall on the floor, it's well protected because the box will take the brunt of the force. So that's the packaging. Now, let's talk about the guidebook, because this is the reason why there are kits out there. So the reason why this is called a kit is because, as I mentioned, the guidebook literally looks like a book. Okay, so this is the front of the book, the back of the book. Okay, and I feel like when the books are this big, it gives the author, the creator of the tarot deck, a lot more wiggle room to express what they need to express, to explain the imagery you are looking at within each of the cards in this tarot deck. So that's why I love kits. You are paying a little bit more than if you were not to get a kit, but it's well worth it because the guidebook is so immersive. Now, I do not know if this tarot deck comes in a non-kit. So you can definitely look for that, search to see if you can find one. But if the tarot says kit, know that you are getting a guidebook that literally looks like this, okay? Now, let's talk about what's in the guidebook. I love the intro that Lisa provides in the book, because she literally talks about how she was not interested in, this was like not at the top of her list of creating when it came to tarot cards. She is not a mermaid type of person whatsoever, but she definitely has close ties to the sea. So it kind of just worked its way into, her schedule, and thus created the Mermaid Tarot. So I love that. As far as what you receive within the guidebook for the cards, you have a full image, a full page image of that card. And normally when you have a full page image of the card, it's only for the major arcana when it comes to larger guidebooks. But this guidebook has a full colored picture of every single card within the tarot deck. So I love that you're able to easily see the card and read the description at the same time. And it really helps, kind of connect the dots, right? So in regards to what you get within the description. So you receive a description here that explains exactly what you are seeing within the cards. And then you also receive an upright and a reverse description. So it's of the card itself. So the first paragraph is depicting what you are seeing within the card, why it was chosen, why it was chosen, what you're seeing, and all that good stuff. Whereas the reversal and the upright descriptions are actually explaining what that card is as far as tarot goes. So you get that with each of the cards within this tarot deck. And then towards the end, you do get tarot spreads, but they are not in the way that you are used to seeing tarot spreads, because normally what I'm used to is I will see, card placements, and you don't necessarily see card placements within the section that talks about tarot spreads. Instead, they explain to you, okay, you need so many cards, and this is what each card means. So you can create the placements of how you want to set the cards up in the spread. It's just there are dedicated meanings to each one of those positions within here. So you do get tarot spreads. You do get tarot spreads specifically for this deck, but it's not the same way you're used to, right? So yeah, that is the guidebook. I love kits because of how immersive, again, the guidebooks can be with kits. And I just love a larger version, a larger view of each of the cards, so that I can really see, all the details that Julie has created within each of these cards. It's absolutely beautiful. So that is the guidebook. Now, it's interesting because I've had my eyes on this tarot deck, but I haven't had the need to pull the trigger to buy it. It wasn't something that, I really, really needed, I really, really wanted, but I'm glad to the person that asked for a review on this. I'm glad that they did, because I love this tarot deck. I have already used it. I got this deck yesterday, and I have done several readings with it, and they're accurate. And the imagery is absolutely beautiful. I'm not a mermaid person as well, but at one point I was, but as of now, I'm not really. But this imagery it's captivating. It's a beautiful, you definitely feel exactly what the card is about within the imagery. So I absolutely love that. Let's talk about the back of the card. So this is what the back of the card looks like. Okay. And as you can see, it is glossy. I have noticed that all of Llewellyn's tarot decks are glossy cardstock, and majority of all of their tarot decks utilize the same cardstock. So if you have a Llewellyn published tarot deck and it's a kit, chances are you will know exactly what type of cardstock this tarot is, along with the texture of the cards, because they're basically all the same. So glossy finish, that's the back of the cards. The cards are standard tarot cards, but I feel like they're a little bit smaller. Yeah, they're just a tad bit shorter. This is your standard Rider-Waite tarot, and the card is just a tad bit smaller, which is totally fine, because it helps that it's a little bit shorter, because you can grip, you can hold the cards, and you can shuffle in that poker style shuffle easily. So I like that. The cardstock also, I'm not a fan of the cardstock that Llewellyn uses, because I feel like it's a little too flexible for my liking. A lot of people like flexible cards because it makes it makes it easier to shuffle however you want to shuffle, whether it's that poker style or that, you know, that over under shuffle. It just makes for an easier shuffle when the cards are a little bit on the thinner side, but not too thin to where it's paper-like. But I like my cards a little bit thicker. I want to know that they have structure and that they will last the test of time. I know with wear and tear, definitely these cards are going to bend a lot quicker than some of my other tarot decks that are a little bit on the thicker side. But then again, I always try to keep my tarot cards in as good condition as possible. But yeah, so this makes for a great shuffle. You can really shuffle it great as a poker style shuffle. I just don't like how easily you can bend the deck. That's just me. That is just me. And just by me doing that couple of times, it's already kind of bent the cards, and I don't really like that. But that's me, guys. That is totally me. I typically can just bend it back into shape. But yeah, visually, to give you an idea, because nothing really beats actually holding the tarot deck within your hands and getting a feel for the cards. I try to visually give you an idea by using a C scale to give you an idea of the thickness, the cardstock that you can expect with a particular tarot deck. So you have this top portion here that is paper thin cardstock. You have the Goldilocks zone, which is, you know, a tarot deck that makes for a great shuffle. And then you have the thicker cardstock where you cannot bend the tarot deck at all to do like that poker shuffle. So starting from that Goldilocks zone, it's probably a tatted to the thinner side. But of course, it's for flexibility. And I know a lot of tarot readers are completely fine with having a thinner cardstock so that you can shuffle effortlessly. So really, it's all based off of your preference. For me, I would like my tarot cards a little bit thicker, similar to your, you know, standard Rider-Waite tarot cards. I feel like those are a tad bit thicker than the Llewellyn ones, like, not like a dramatic amount, but it's almost like having another layer added to it for that added structure. I'm all about structure. But yeah, that is the cardstock. So let's talk about the naming convention. So naming convention and the naming convention, the imagery, I am basing all of this off of the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery and naming convention, mainly because a lot of the guidebooks out there, a lot of the tarot decks out there are all based off of the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery to an extent. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to have their own take, their own style, and their own theme to their tarot decks. But for the most part, they try to stick with, you know, the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery in some way. So when it comes to the imagery does not follow the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. But as I mentioned, the imagery still gives you some indication of what that card is representing. So it's not completely different. You know what that card's trying to express to you based off of the imagery that you see, okay? But if you were used to the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, expect to, you know, find that this tarot deck has nothing to do with that because it's mermaids. So that is the imagery. There are no bonus cards to this tarot deck. Which is totally fine. Again, not a problem. Let's talk about naming convention. Naming convention being, again, based off of the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. You have the Pentacles, Cups, Wands, and Swords. So with this particular tarot deck, they're all the same. You have Pentacles, Cups, Swords, and Wands in this tarot deck. So really, it's not too different. It's just the imagery that differs. And yeah, there is, I enjoy this tarot deck. I find it very soft. It's not harsh when it comes to, you know, I've done a few readings already with this tarot deck, and the messages that I get are not harsh, but they are to the point. But, you know, they're not like in your face kind of, you know, yeah. That's the best that I can explain it. But I've noticed that all of Llewellyn's tarot decks tend to be that way anyways. Very soft spoken, but to the point, you know, not harsh, but definitely not sugarcoating. It's just kind of like a good friend, you know, letting you know without being offensive or anything like that, if that makes sense. But yeah, I like this tarot deck. I hope that this video has helped you in some way. If it has, leave a like. If you want to take a look at my channel, feel free to do so. See if there is another tarot deck that I have done a review on that you might be interested in. If there is not a tarot deck that is in my list that I've done so far that you would like a review on, like I did with this one, leave me a comment. Let me know what tarot deck that is. Chances are I may have it, and I just haven't done a review on it yet. But let me know what that is. But without further ado, enjoy the flip through coming up, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.